Today we're going to talk about some anticipated releases. There are 23 books that are coming out between the start of July and the end of September that are on my radar as books that I am interested in picking up. Every quarter I do one of these videos to kind of just keep track of the books that I'm interested in and share them with you. And also kind of information gather around like, what books are other people interested in? Have you already read any of these ones? Have you pre-ordered any of them? I am going to try to get through these quite quickly though, because I'm filming this in the middle of the massive heat wave and not having the fan on. I feel like I'm just slowly cooking. Anyway, I'm going to start with the book that is coming out on the 2nd of July, and that is Queenie is Working on It by Candice Carty-Williams. This is the hotly anticipated follow-up to the sensational novel Queenie by the same author. That novel took the book world by storm when it came out, and this sequel picks up with the titular character many years later in a kind of different phase of her life, but she is still very much like trying to figure stuff out. I think she was in like her early 20s in the first Queenie novel. She's a bit older now, is starting to think about things like whether she wants to have children or not, or like whether she is able to like buy property, all of those like very grown-up things. I absolutely loved Queenie. I have loved everything that I've read from Candice Carty-Williams ever since, so I'm very excited for this one. I have held off on pre-ordering a copy just because there are lots of books coming onto my shelves at the minute, but I actually have quite a lot of Waterstones points that I need to spend, and I am pondering whether quite a lot of the books I'm going to talk about today, I will just like go out and buy them and have a complete splurge in like Waterstones Piccadilly one day, and I feel like this book will probably fall into that category. Also coming out on the 2nd of July is Main Characters by Bobby Palmer, and this novel is about the two main characters of the book, but told by everyone except them. So it is told through the lens of the surrounding cast of characters in their lives. Their friends, their flatmates, their exes, complete strangers. And this is a literary device that I absolutely love. I love seeing people through the eyes of others, because I think everyone has a slightly different version of themselves that they present to different areas of their life. And I think you get such a better, well-rounded idea of a person almost by like combining all those different perspectives than necessarily how someone interprets themselves. And this is a love story. It is about two people falling in love. One of them is an actor, one of them is a director. This is one that I have pre-ordered because I just found the concept like really appealing. Only Mouth by Jacqueline Malley is coming out, and I was initially drawn to this one because of the cover. I feel like there have been a few books that have had like a somewhat similar cover style to this one, and the aesthetic of it just really appeals to me, so that was what initially drew me to this book. I believe this is set in Australia and is largely a family drama focused on sisterhood, but it is also a book that is described as being deliciously about food. I think a lot of it is set around like the restaurant industry. It's described as a book club novel, which I really love, and it is also described as a smart summer read. And they are all descriptions that do really appeal to me. Like, I enjoy books that are not particularly difficult to read, that would be really suitable for like reading on your holiday, but have enough substance in them that you can really discuss them with other people. So that has definitely piqued my interest in this one. I think this is one of only 2 nonfiction books on this list. It is Story of a Murder by Hallie Rubenhold, whose name you most likely remember from The Five, which was her nonfiction book about the women who were killed by Jack the Ripper. Again, that was another book that was like a huge runaway success when it was published. It was so unlike the typical thing that I might read, and perhaps saying enjoy is the wrong word to describe it because of the subject matter, but I got so much value from it and I found it so compulsively readable, especially for a historical nonfiction book. This book is about a music hall performer who disappeared in 1910 and is an examination of her murder. And obviously the main reason that I'm interested in this is because it is Hallie Rubenhold. Like, there is no one else that I would want to read this rediscovered history from. I'm really intrigued by Pick a Colour, and especially because it has been so highly recommended by Simon Savage, and I really trust his reviews on things. This is about Ning, who is a retired boxer and currently works in a nail salon, and because of that job, she often finds herself dismissed by the people around her. But there is so much depth to her that people don't really get to see. It's told over the course of a single day, which is another device that I really, really love. It's quite short, 192 pages. They are all things that appeal to me. I feel like I am going so red and just getting like increasingly hot. I could put the fan on. I feel like it would be giving like L'Oreal advert a bit too much and possibly also be very noisy. I just heard about The Compound by Aisling Rowell today and immediately added it on to my wish list. Louise O'Neill, who is one of my favourite authors of all time, described this one as Lord of the Flies meets Love Island, which is honestly enough for me to immediately want to read this. Described as a chilling dystopia, and it follows 10 women who wake up in the middle of a compound in a desert and realise there are cameras following their every move, and the book follows what happens when men arrive at this compound. Heartstopper Volume 6 is coming out. I really enjoy all of the Heartstopper graphic novels. I think Alice Oseman is amazing. I think she's one of the greatest young adult authors of all time. I do read a lot of young adult books for my own enjoyment partially, but also because of my job, just trying to keep like engaged with what is kind of popular in young adult publishing at the minute. But Alice Oseman is someone that I have read for such a long time, like before I worked in publishing up to now, just for pure enjoyment. And actually I could say the same thing about Farida Abiki Ayamede. Their new novel, The Heirs, is quite high concept. It is a thriller, and I kind of want to go into it somewhat blind. I really loved, I think it was their debut, Ace of Spades. I thought that was actually like in a different league in terms of young adult writing, so I'm really excited to read this one. Now on to the 2nd July pub date, the 16th of July. The Project by Annie Lord is coming out. This book is about friends Daisy and Maya who are kind of messily bouncing around like the city dating scene and not having any luck with the people that they are dating. Daisy is looking around at like all of their dating prospects and think that these guys just do not measure up to the fantastic women that are available. So she decides to start this thing called The Project. And the first iteration of the project will be on her friend James, who she has recently, regrettably, had a one-night stand with. So it's like a friends to lovers rom-com. It's coming out in hardback. I will probably wait for the paperback, and I would also be very keen to hear anyone's thoughts. If you've read like an advanced reader copy or you read it when the hardback comes out, I would love to hear what you think about it. Rachel Lynn Solomon has a new book coming out called Extracurricular, which is like a student professor romance. And I don't love that. Sometimes when I'm reading romance fiction, I do need to have a word with myself and like remind myself that it is like a fantasy. Also, I'm sure there are like more nuances to the power dynamics than just like a straightforward like student professor thing. I have read a few romances from this author and really enjoyed them, so I'm definitely interested in giving this one a chance. Coming out on the 23rd of July is The Glorious Dead by Justin Myers. I read one book from this author and I completely loved it. It was one of my favourite books in the year that I read it, and I've not read anything from him since, and I really must rectify that. This is about the aftermath of a West End star called Laurie dying suddenly in a car crash. And what happens when Laurie's husband Joe and best friend Vivi hear rumours of an unpublished memoir from Laurie circulating. And this leads them to uncover things about someone that they thought they knew really well and really intimately they had no idea about. Which is a concept that I do find really intriguing. I'm so sweaty, this is disgusting. Coming out on the 30th of July is Nothing Good Happens After 2 a.m. by Niamh Hargan. I love that title. It's something that I have started to say a lot. I don't know what angle it's going to come at in the book, whether it's going to be like that's the message of the book or whether it's like countering that idea. It's set in London in 2005. It follows two cocktail making stars on the rise that are working in a speakeasy, are locked in this like competitive rivalry. There is this like undeniable connection between the two of them, and they find themselves continuously drawn back to one another. I think this one is already out in hardback, so if any of you have read it, would love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, into August now. Coming out on the 6th of August is Outside by Charlotte Levin. I read one of her books a few years ago. It was called If I Can't Have You, and I found it very like compulsively readable. I probably won't pick this one up initially in hardback. Probably wait for the paperback, but I'm keeping it on my radar. This is about a woman who was a rising like acting star who, following a tragic accident, has become somewhat of a recluse. She has closed the door on the world, quite literally and metaphorically. And the book is about the growing connection between her and a gardener that she hires to deal with the overgrown mess of a garden that she now has because she hasn't been like tending to it. The third young adult book on this list is Bridget and Gabe Are Not Okay by Lex Croucher. I think this is like a loose, like connected follow-up to Gwen and Art Are Not in Love. which I completely adored. It was like a no thoughts, all vibes, fun, queer romp. I don't actually need to know anything about the premise of this one. I will be reading it. Now, on the 27th of August is Picture Imperfect by Jacqueline Wilson. Of course, the beloved children's and like teen writer. Jacqueline Wilson raised me. Jacqueline Wilson is the reason I am a socialist. This is the second book from her that is an adult novel that revisits characters from her children's books. This time we are revisiting the lives of the characters from The Illustrated Mum, which is one of my all-time favorites of her books. I'm not going to pick this one up just yet because I still haven't read Think Again, which was the first of her like adult revisitations of her books. And I just feel like I should read that one before I end up picking up this one. Now into September, on the 3rd of September, Big Man by Dean Atta is coming out. I have completely loved this author's young adult verse novels. I do not need to know anything about the premise of this book. I will be reading it. I'm not actually sure if it's written in verse or not, but either way, as I say, we'll be reading it. All I really know is that it explores Black Britishness and queerness. It looks at family. I mean, Dean Atta has written it. That's the only thing I need to know to want to read this book. Philip Hensher has written a book called The History of the Novel in Britain. This is one of those books that I feel like I want to own, but will I ever really read it? It's over 700 pages long, which immediately puts me off. Now, probably a lot of that is references, but even so, this seems like it's going to be a long book. And I mean, the title is pretty much what it says on the tin. It is a book that explores the role and development of the novel in Britain, like this concept of the novel. I finished my English Lit and Creative Writing degree in 2017, so it has almost been, oh my god, it's almost been 10 years. What the actual fuck? Anyway, just to say, I'm starting to get like itchy. Like I miss like studying literature a little bit. So that's why I'm intrigued by this book. But I do wonder like maybe I should just be like watching some lectures, attending some like public events. I mean, it's a £25 hardback, so I will not be buying it, certainly in the hardback release, but I do want to like keep an eye on it. Gillian Anderson has a new non-fiction collection coming out called More. This is a follow-up to Want, which was a collection of, I suppose, confessions or anecdotes from women around the world about their sexual desires. It was very like confessional. I had fun with that book. I didn't think it was like as incredible as it was sort of being hyped up to be. As much as I would love this very eye-catching hardback to go alongside my hardback of Want, I'm just not sure I got enough out of the concept to justify buying another hardback, but we will see. The third novel from Lucy Jane Wood is also coming out in September. It is called Disenchanted. I thought her previous novels, Rewitched and Uncharmed, were so much fun. They are like the perfect cozy autumnal reading. They are exactly the kind of fantasy that I enjoy, where it's not like too high concept, it's just like witchy. I think she's a fantastic writer. I feel like I'm gonna read like everything that she ever publishes. She's also someone that I have like loved the YouTube content from for many, many years, and I really want to support. So I will be getting this in hardback. Earlier in the video, I mentioned like wanting to do a bit of a splurge with my Waterstones points, and I feel like I will probably get this book. I do also want to get a special edition because I have special editions of her previous two books as well, so I do need a matching set. Holly Bourne has a new young adult book coming out. It is called And Then We Screamed. Holly Bourne is another like auto read author. I have really enjoyed her young adult books, and I've also enjoyed her adult books. I think she's such a fantastic and prolific writer. Like, she has so many fantastic books, and I've never thought any of them were a miss. They have all been hits. And the concept of this sounds so intriguing and so unique. It is a dark young adult thriller set in the idyllic American town of Maple Lakes. One day during an exam, one of the cheerleaders starts screaming, and then more girls start to break into these unexplainable fits of screaming without any explanation. And it is about two teenagers taking it upon themselves to investigate what has really been going on. This sounds like such a unique concept, and as I said, just love everything that Holly writes. The 15th of September, Elizabeth Acevedo has a new book called Anger is Only a Shadow. Another author who I just love everything that they write. They write young adult books in verse, which is one of my favorite storytelling formats. I just love verse novels, and that's all I need to know. I definitely want to read this one. John Green has his adult fiction debut in Hollywood Ending. I do not need to know what this book is about. I do not care what this book is about. I will be sat I will be reading. I mean, I don't need to explain the concept of John Green to you guys, right? I was in like the thick of the John Green hype when I was a teenager. I was obsessed with Looking for Alaska and The Fault in Our Stars. His other books, less so, but I read them. I was on Tumblr. I do know this book explores like the nature of celebrity, and that is enough to like legitimize my like fangirl excitement. I'm just so intrigued to see what this is going to be like. I've not read any of his adult nonfiction, but I hear really good things about it. I am just like going to want to be part of the conversation. I'm gonna want to talk to everyone about this book. Another book that I will absolutely be reading, no questions asked, is A Bigger Life by Louise O'Neill. As I've already mentioned in this video, Louise O'Neill is possibly like my favorite author of all time. I have loved every single one of her books, and this is her memoir. I am so excited for any tea that is going to be spilt, but also she is someone that I just really admire, and I would love like her insight on her life and what has happened in it and sharing her experiences. I was so excited for this book already, but then I went to like an Irish women's fiction event in Foyles where Louise was like one of the panelists. It was an absolutely fantastic event, but who was there? Marian Keyes, the Queen of Ireland. She was sat like right there. Like I was sat here and then she was sat right there. I ended up yapping to her afterwards, and honestly it is one of my biggest regrets in life that I didn't ask for a photo with her. Like I didn't want to be bothersome, but we were having this lovely chat, but there was also someone else there, so it was kind of awkward. But she was spilling tea about this book because like she is a friend of Louise's, she's already read it, and I'm not going to repeat like what she told me because it just feels like too like gossipy about someone's life in like an oddly parasocial way, especially like not knowing at this stage like what bits are in the book. But as if I wasn't excited to read it already, I had an in-person recommendation from Marian Keyes. I actually think it will haunt me that I didn't ask her for a photo. I don't really get like starry-eyed about many authors, but Marian. And then finally, Louise Kennedy has a new book coming out called Stations. This is about two teenagers who meet in their Irish hometown in 1982, but their lives end up going on different paths and in different directions. But 2 years after they last saw each other, they end up reconnecting in London, and the book takes a look at that relationship. I have an unread Louise Kennedy book on my shelves already, so I am going to prioritize reading that before I get to this one, and probably wait for the paperback to come out as well. But another one where I'm just like, keeping it on my radar. Okay, they are all the books that I have on my radar for the third quarter of the year. As I said, if you've already read any of these like as an advanced reader, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if any are also on your radar, if you've pre-ordered any of them, please do let me know as well. Maybe some of the paperbacks I think are like second format, so you may have also read the hardback. Okay, I'm so hot. I actually don't have the capacity to like think of an emoji. Can you leave me like a hot emoji, like a sun or a fire or something like that? I am gonna go lie down in front of the fan. I'll talk to you next time.